I know we're in a different spot here, but if you can see, right here, I've added this thickness of balsa wood. Okay, I don't know what that is. Let me just go measure it here. That is, let me see, 2 millimeters thick. 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, 2 millimeters. Anyways, I put that on one side. Now, I started sanding this side, and then I got my electronics in there. And I watched the guy that said he sanded his, but he had to add fiberglass underneath because he sanded that so low. So I thought I'd raise this side and leave that side just not lowered. And then yes, with that like that and the wing on, it matches the tail section perfectly. And the tail I put on square. So here I've got to put my blind nuts in. So let's back the camera up a bit here. Pull the plane out just a bit. The issue with this setup is these big wings and certain people's, you could say, lack of space. Okay, so I was give a hint. I should be able to find holes where that wiring is tucked in. We aren't riding up on any of that. Now, with that square like that, what we have to do, see, the wing will shift in this mount. So we'll have to do some measurements. I'll be right back. While the furnace was making all that noise, I measured wingtip to wingtip, right? And the tail, and centered a whole bunch of lines just to double make sure. So now I know I'm really, the wing is on centered and in place. And they say that there's supposed to be 2 holes marked here, but I see none. So I'm going to go and drill a hole. There, and one more there. Now, very shallow, and they're just sort of guide holes. Okay. Now I'm going to have to make the holes bigger on this side to accept the blind nuts. Set the way up there for a second. Okay. So they supply me with these 2 blind nuts that I'll be using. I've gone a little bit too far. And that solid wood there, but I think I'll reinforce that too by putting a plate across, the fiberglass plate across the top. Okay, so we'll get that started, and I gotta drill the holes bigger to get the blind nuts in, and I'll bring it back. Darn. Okay, here, I didn't know, maybe I should make this video. Okay, now you see a blind nut, right? Okay, now I've got, I'm not going to use for it, but an Allen head screw, something I get a lot of torque on, a big washer, and the blind nut. Okay? Now, I drilled the hole in the bottom big enough for the center of this blind nut to fit up through. So what I do, I'm going to set the blind nut in place on here with my finger, maybe not. I have to fish it out of there now. Holy, it's all the way down the bottom. Thank goodness for magnets on a stick, eh? Huh? There. So, like I was saying, hold this blind nut in place. Oh. So I hold the blind nut in place and get this started. Okay. Third time lucky. It seems to be a weird spot. Why can't I get it there? Why can't I do that? There it is. Okay, so you see I can get that started. Okay, now what I'm doing is I want to sink the teeth of that nut up into the bottom of the wood here. Right? So I have that big washer there. And okay, now there it's tight. Okay, now I keep going and I can feel that it's biting in the bottom. And I keep tightening, tightening, tightening. It's just about it, a little bit more. And now that blind nut is set in. Okay. This should comes out really easy. Now the blind nuts are set in the wood, their teeth are dug in, and it'll be easy to screw on my wing. Right? So there we go. I wonder if I can bring you over here and show you, or if the shadows are too bad. If you can see inside there, the holes are big and the little metal came all the way up from the inside. So that when I attach my wing, I'm ready to think about it. I have some of these nice Allen screws instead. I think I'm going to use some of them. Yes. I use some nice Allen screws in my wing. Okay, so now I've got to what have I got to do? My ailerons, my flaps. Put my wing on. I'm going to mount the wing. I'm going to make a fiberglass plate for that. I'll take something like this here and I'll just cut a plate to support those screws. Glue that on. Oh, I gotta make the little plastic domey thing. That's right. Make this little thing. Cut it out. That has to go on my wing. I see. This is going to support my screws and washers. Let's see how that works out. So they have this wood here with the holes in it already. Oh no. Wow. I might be putting new holes in that. We'll have to see. There's a good one. See, they have holes here, but they didn't show many holes in the wing here. I guess I should use that as a template, eh? Didn't know that. Well, if they had instructions, you'd know things like that, I guess. Anyways, I got my blind nut set and my wing done. So if I got to change the holes in this little piece of wood, we're going to have to. I'll get the wing mounted and see where that piece goes and see how it goes on. We'll be right back and do that. There it is. Mounted. I'm not happy. This front shifts a little bit, but I think it should be okay. It's tight. The back's got a nice little plastic dome here. Okay. So there, as far as it goes, we have the wing mounted. So that looks good. Well, see the holes there, right? I have this piece over here. Ooh, what's that? Oh, nothing. I think I'm going to give something away soon. Maybe. Anyways, so this piece we made up the holes here, the screws, and it's kind of a pain in the ass because you got this that comes out of the wing. So I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to put this in the wing, and I'm going to CA glue this down to the wing. So I get these screws started, right? Because I'm going to go through those holes a bit. Okay. I've got this, I guess, pretty nice because, come on. Okay, so there. Both of those are started pretty good. So now, I'll back them out a bit. It's because they're pretty tight. And I'll put some CA glue underneath there and tack that on. I think that's what I'll do. So then this piece and the screws will be part of the wing, right? Rather than having all these separate pieces. So when the wing comes off, that stays on the wing. And, well, I've got to make sure I'll measure again my wingtip to wingtip. Make sure that my wing is square. Everything is ready before I glue that piece on, but it's still going to make it so the wing comes off. Either way. But this should be all ready to go now. Boy, eh? So, what next? I guess to put batteries in it and turn it on. Okay. I guess that's it built, I guess. Oh, one more thing I have to do, I think. I have the parts here for is the brace for the landing gear. I haven't glued the landing gear in yet. So, with that said, I'll get the wing mounted down and everything done. We'll do the electronics test, and the last thing we're going to do is probably set it down on the ground and measure the wingtips, make sure it's sitting flat, and then I'll glue the landing gear in. But I want to make sure that it sits flat on the ground before I glue the landing gear in. Because I don't care, I've made it square to the tail, I make everything square, but then after that I want it to be square to the ground. So we won't do that, actually make the landing gear glued in here until that point. But there we go. I'd say for the most part, it's built. That's it. It's done. Okay, subscribe. We'll see this thing flying soon. Actually, soon. Next video will be a test of this. Remember, I got a lot of stuff in here, so I have to have a ground station fired up and everything ready to go. But it'll be soon.